Hello everybody, such a great musical choice, yeah, really.
Welcome everybody.
Hyvää huomenta. Good morning everybody.
Hi everyone.
Bonjour. Dobré ráno. Good morning everybody.
Hello everybody, good morning.
Καλημέρα κυρίες και κύριοι.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Dear fellow young Europeans, we are Jan and Cyprian. We come from France.
Greetings, my name is Anton and I come from Slovenian delegation.
Hello everybody, Aite. It's a great honor to stand in front of you from all the European countries. Standing here and looking at you, it's make us very happy to see that the main purpose of a European Union is being fulfilled.
We are the leaders of the project 3 Move from Germany. In this project, 2 high schools, the Gesamtschule 3 and the Albert-Schweitzer-Gymnasium, work together with refugees of our hometown. The idea was how to contact and how to integrate them. We found the solution in a sport project. The possibility of communication gave us the chance to break down prejudice and to have a cultural exchange.
We want to send a message. We must be united in our diversity in these times of uncertainty. We are really happy to be part of Euroscola 2016 sessions.
Die Gemeinschaft gehört auch in den Europäischen Union zu den wichtigsten Werten.
Things aren't that easy within the European Union, so I think it's time for us to be modest, but to rally round and support one another. We need to ensure respect for human rights, whilst at the same time being aware of the needs of the environment. The European Union is our future. We place our hopes in that future, and we believe in it. Thank you very much indeed.
I am Tibor Szanyi, a Hungarian member of the European Parliament, and here, together with my colleagues, we would like to welcome you most wholeheartedly, and then we are obviously congratulating you on winning your respective competitions, your countries, and now as a final stage play, we are now here in the European Parliament.
I'm from Latvia. My name is Elizabeth, and I have a similar question like Robert. And this question is about the safety of the Baltic states. And knowing the risks which come from Russia, such as military training, militarization of the society, for example, military camps for youth, do we, the Baltic states, have to set our views to expand and modernize our military forces? Thank you.
Now we understood the message from the United States, as Mr. Trump said that he will end that period of history when the United States was the single and sole guarantor for the European security. Now the European countries have to build up their own military defense potential. So it means that we will have to pay quite a lot of money in the forthcoming years on defense. And more directly to your question, I mean, if it's not going to happen next day, but if slowly and slowly we can set up a European military force, then obviously those countries, especially the Baltic countries, which are offended by the Russians mostly, I mean, the European Union can give them certain internal guarantee, so it means that it's not up to the United States or someone else, but it's going to be up to the European Union to secure the existence of those Baltic countries. But on the other hand, I do trust that NATO is going to remain as well a very important player in that field. So I don't really believe that Mr. Trump's crude intentions are going to be carried out like he said. But anyhow, it's going to be a nice big effort from all the European Union countries to secure the Nordic area of our European Union, so don't be frightened.
My name is Barbara, I'm from Czech Republic, and I would like to ask what is your opinion on Turkey wanting to be a part of European Union?
I think that in the foreseeable future, it's only the Balkan countries which might going to be able to join the European Union and not anybody else. So, I mean, for the longer run, nobody knows, but if we are talking about 5, 10, 15 years, I don't expect that Ukraine or Turkey will be a member of the European Union. And I must confess to you that what has happened in Turkey in the last 1 year, it undermined everything practically. I mean, something like 40 years that Turkey is applying for a membership. It's going to be another 40 years until they can clarify their situation. But I'm not having any kind of expectation. You know, now the talks are even suspended. Suspended in a way that there are no new dossiers to be opened. Even there are some pressures from the European Union in order to bring back Turkey to the democratic lines. So my fear is rather that with Turkey we are going to have more conflicts than issues resolved. And that's a bad perspective, I know, but we have to do everything. I mean, we have to be cool, calm, and not on a militant way is how we should deal with Turkey. But for the time being, I think that we need to concentrate on how to stop the deterioration of our current network of agreements. So that's my forecast for Turkey.
Καλημέρα κυρίες και κύριοι. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eleftheria Papasteriou and I come from Greece. I would like to pose a question about refugees. First of all, let us ask ourselves why refugees see their future with us in Europe and why their minds are not set on other continents. It is because they see in us a hope that their children will live in a place that respects democratic values and human civil rights. Are they right? Is Europe the ideal destination for them?
I think that there are many moramers or sayings and facts and even fake news around this whole complex question of refugees. I think that one of the basic principles is quite clear, and we have to have reinforced this principle here in this room and many other places in the European Union, that the European Union as such is open for real refugees, and we respect human dignity as such. So that's something what can't be questioned. But of course, there is a certain, as we used to say in technical phrase, that absorption capacity of Europe, but it's not the same in all places. There are some countries which are having more willingness to host, to receive refugees. Some other countries are very reluctant in that. It has its not only financial or material reasons. Sometimes this is a mental capacity of the people, and you know, in those areas of Europe where the population has not been really mobile, and then they're just living on their own within their own circles. Then they are just having fears of everyone who is coming from outside in their views. It's one problem, okay, that we have a wave of refugees by many practical reasons. But the bigger problem, or even I would say the biggest problem, is the reason why they had to escape. And here again, the European Union must go out a little bit beyond our frontiers to find solutions for the general problem of the refugees. But I just want really to congratulate you and really to enhance you in saying that the young generations made here in Europe quite a very respected contribution to the resolution of the refugee problem.
We looked at hybrid cars and how with the EU can actually subsidize perhaps some of the cars so that people will want to buy them because they're quite expensive, and that's the problem. The technology is costless and it really isn't good. But, so we want more people to buy those cars, and we want to encourage people to do that. So perhaps for electric cars, by implementing solutions such as charging ports at every distance radius, depending on the population density. So if there's a high population density, then include a charging port quite frequently, and have bonuses for installations at petrol stations to encourage these petrol stations and independent chains to actually install them. The second thing we touched upon is renewable energy. So solar powered, perhaps in areas like the beautiful French Riviera, where there's a high percentage of sunlight and there are long days. Using these solutions, using the energy that's there to generate electricity can be useful rather than destroying the planet with sort of non-renewable sources of energy. We also looked at hydroelectric power, so utilizing the flow of water. So as the water flows, it turns a turbine which generates electricity. This may be very good in places where there's a river, and Europe is filled with rivers. For example, in France itself, there's the River Rhine, so this can be useful there. Yeah, and also biomass. I think biomass can be used utilizing agricultural waste that decomposes over time. We can use that to gain electricity and gain energy. This will be useful in places where there isn't much access to. There isn't access to a lot of sort of the urban sort of methods of generating electricity. So this will be useful in very remote locations where there's a lot of farmers, in fields, so in places quite I think sparse. I think that's the word.
The majority of us also thinks that Europe ought to restrict freedom of expression and movement where there is a security risk and it can cause a dangerous situation, and the information can be used by those who can do some misdemeanors. As an example, also a terrorist attack which happened in Brussels when all the metro stations, all the trains, all the airports were closed. Yes, they had no right of movement, but their lives were saved. Plus, we also think that there is a lack of studies and information about human rights. So some of us do not have any understanding of it and what does that mean. So we believe that we need maybe a separated subject where we can be taught about this. And the very last, the majority agreed on a need of taking individual responsibility. And it was said, the freedom of one person ends when the freedom of another starts. And we all agreed with this statement. So we are responsible for everything we've done. We have our rights, but we also have our responsibilities, and we should follow them. Basically, that's it. Thank you.
I really don't think that we should restrict our rights, because I think that's what terrorists, for example, want. I think that we should defeat them or fighting them or their territory and don't restrict our rights. That's all. Thank
you. The development aid policy proposes that the EU encourages students after graduation to take a gap year in order to help needing population via a European structure. Proposes that to extend the previous proposal to unemployed people who could put into practice their qualifications to answer population's needs in a short-term process. Proposes on a longer period the formation of local workforces so as to establish a sustainable dynamic. proposes partnership between European Union and developing countries in high administration formation. Graduated students or administrators would follow administration lessons and once formed would be reintegrated in homeland administration. It enables less corruption, more efficiency in national affairs, but also make the link between the emerging countries, which are the future powers, and the EU stronger.
In my country, it is said that the moment you lose that 1 year volunteering or doing whatever, you immediately lose your student rights. That is cheaper food, cheaper transport, cheaper everything. So don't you think that maybe that would be actually a bad idea for people in other countries? And wouldn't it be that the government is then placing the blame for actually putting the world's goods equally into everybody's hands instead of the 2% of the world that hold it? Wouldn't then the burden be on the people instead of the people that are actually responsible? Thank you.
It's true that to establish common European process, you have to be based on the same rules. And obviously, if this process is put into practice, there will be a need of standardization of rules concerning students, which is already happening with the master system and the equal qualification system all around Europe, but also on students' rights. There will be a need of harmonization, and yeah, it's really interesting, the point you submit. Thank you.
What is more, the rise of radical Eurosceptic parties and the growing gap between the Brussels elite and citizens clearly show that the European Union needs a substantial reform. The European Union should act as a facilitator for common objectives, but must never become an objective in itself. Just some of the priorities for this legislature should be better scrutiny of the European Union, less regulation, decentralization of power away from Brussels, flexible labor markets, and the democracy at home and abroad. What I mean with that is that the European Union has to spread the feeling that we all are Europeans and we share a common political identity that is based on democracy, tolerance, peace, and freedom besides our differences. The truth is that what's needed for the future of the European Union was written into its very foundations. In this way, we will eliminate religious extremism and ethnic nationalism. At the spirit of coordination, the European Union has to help less developed countries to organize their economies on their own, not only by taking austerity measures, but also by giving them motives to boost. What is more, our conclusion has been that Europe should focus on communication, coordinating, rather than unifying law to avoid the mistrust of the past. Thank you.
So, as long as I can see, some countries have better economy than others. And these countries have to help the, well, let's say, with not that good economy countries more than the others. How do you convince these countries to continue helping?
I think that we should focus on education in order to raise people that have a common sense about common European beliefs. Solidarity is what keeps us together. So I think that every country that is in the European Union knows that it has to protect the other members. There is a common belief that we are under the same umbrella, if I can say it like this. So I think that it is inside us, the belief that we can help each other. We can't raise it, it's in us.
Our group was divided by whether we should let all migrants in or we should have some restrictions. The vast majority decided that we should filter who we let in, and also how would we decide whom to let in and whom to put in which country. We think that we should consider the available jobs in Europe and in the specific countries, as well as the demography of the country. So how many people are there, so we could split the migrants proportionally. And that was an example which made us think that we should also take into account the personal situation, such as when, for example, a pregnant woman comes to the border, then it's not only one life, but two. And also, back to the demographic, we realized that there are huge differences in the way the countries and the people from countries think about this issue. Thinking about integration, we thought that the basic thing we should definitely provide the migrants coming to Europe, coming to specific countries, is language education, since if they cannot speak the language, they cannot even start the integration process. And there was also a word about that's surely, so the migrants need to accept our values, but we need to help them.
You said that you didn't have time to touch on integration. I want to know your opinion on how would you help combat ghettos appearing in major European cities, as in when a lot of groups of people that most of the time are immigrants just block off themselves from the culture, from the native culture, and live like a shadow society.
Yes, so we also thought that it's a big problem that there are these ghettos. Our kind of solution, it's not for sure a solution, but for the younger refugees, we can start the education soon, and we should also maybe consider making their time spent in the school longer and not letting them staying in the ghettos. However, as I said, it's we hadn't enough time, so it's mostly my idea, and we should definitely discuss it longer.
For students living in the European Union, there are a variety of options. Though the immigration process, blending into foreign societies, can still prove to be challenging. Most EU countries are very welcoming towards these students. An example of this could be Denmark, whereas when the EU regulation states that any student from the EU country has the right to receive a scholarship in Denmark if they work 10 to 12 hours a week. Furthermore, EU citizens do not have to pay for studying in Denmark. Allowing this to transfer to other member states would allow the country to particularly and potentially have more specialized workers, allowing for more efficient methods in their respective fields, therefore giving a boost to their economies, lowering costs and increasing profits. More trips and issues in relation to jobs and their interests. This could be related to Estonia, where one day a year, students will be able to work for a company. This could be, for example, being a prime minister's assistant. Though they are obviously giving in applications in order to participate in these events, they will be receiving opportunities in order to actually gain some work experience in the future. This could relate to courses on employment, such as CVs, how to behave in interviews, etc. Though these are indeed used by schools, etc., and independent companies, they do not relate to all member states.